some of the most overgrazed pastures I've ever seen in my life have been on homesteads
Mm.
where people have just a couple animals out and they're just in this, you know, the outback lot, glorified yard, and that's where they stay, and the thing is eaten to nothing, and um, essentially they're on hay for, you got to go buy hay for 180 days a year because there's no grass. Okay, and so let me start here, and Cena, we'll go to questions, um, and maybe even have some listener questions. I'm gonna give the Cliff's Notes um, explanation of why movement is so important. The first reason is because of the way grass grows. So grass grows in an S curve. Think about an S, a sigmoid curve. Okay. Starts slow, grows real fast, and then it slows down. If that grass can never get into its what's called its blaze of growth period, I call it, its teenage years. If it can never get into its teenage years, when the kids, you can't fill them up, you can't, the boys keep growing out of their britches, and you're shooting up. There's a period of time when you just like it's a bottomless pit, and I know, Cena, you have one
Yeah.
right now. Your oldest, like, you got to put a brick on his head. It's like he's growing an inch a day, and
Yeah. He's taller than me now.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And he'll
yeah,
say, now I literally and metaphorically look down on you.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. Every mom wants to hear her son say, "I
Yeah.
now look down on you." Yeah, yeah, right. But that growth spurt, he eats.
Yes.
I mean, he eats like crazy. All right.
Yes. A ton. He's very
Yeah,
expensive. Like,
very expensive. That's the way we feel about, our stewards and stuff. These are all pretty much young people, and they're still in their heavy eating phase. And whoo, wow. Well, I mean, these guys will typically eat, half a pound of sausage and 8 eggs a morning for breakfast. I mean, just, whoa, man. And you get seven of them together, and suddenly, whoo. So anyway, so the grass has this same kind of, infant, juvenile, senescent growth cycle too. And so the reason that you move them is to give the grass a rest period, a long enough rest period that it can go through this juvenile growth phase. And even if you've got a very small acreage, if you rest a spot and just watch the grass growth when it's resting, uh, it'll make a believer out of you. You'll wow, this is I've suddenly got 3 times as much grass as I ever had, even up to 4 times as much grass as I've ever had, because it gets out of first gear and can go into overdrive. I mean, that's the idea. Okay. And so that's the number one reason, is to actually stimulate way more grass than you ever thought possible.
and I'm assuming is that healthier grass? Like when you allow it to go through
Yeah,
that juvenile spurt, is like more nutrients
absolutely.
maybe that the cow
Absolutely.
needs.
Yes. It turns from protein to carbohydrate. And
Mm,
so very short grass is primarily protein, but what a ruminant needs is carbohydrate, because they are a fermentation tank. Well, what do you want when you're fermenting? You want sugars, right? I
sugars.
mean,
Yeah.
that's what ferments. And so the cows, they're looking for, almost no cow is short of protein. They're short of carbohydrate. That's why a nursing calf gets its protein from its mother's milk. Milk is very high in protein. Okay, and so the very small animal does want protein. As the animal matures, they want more carbohydrate, energy, and the grass follows that same cycle. As it gets longer.
Isn't that beautiful? Like it's amazing the things that we don't learn in our culture and in the school system and things we don't think about. Like I didn't know that until you just said it. And I thought, how amazing is that like nature provides what if you allow it, right? Allow nature to take its course, it provides for what the cow needs and what we need. That's
Yeah,
incredible.
and it's the migratory pattern, that we see in nature. It's the migratory pattern in nature that that gives the rest period for the grass to grow to that length. So when the animals come back to it, it is now at its most energy intensive level, as opposed to being high protein. You can tell a lot. You can tell if your animal is getting too high a protein by looking at their manure. There's kind of three kinds of manure. One is what we call sheet cake, squirt. Okay, it's very runny. The second is cookies, where it comes out in little ringlets of cookies. That means it's the forage is too fibrous. You waited too long. It got coarse and lignified. But what you're looking for is a pumpkin pie. You're looking for a nice round pie, slightly elevated on the edges, sunken in the middle, with a little kind of little uh, pedestal of blip, right there where she pinched off the last little bit, as
That's
it
the
came off.
technical term. Bleep bleep. Like
Yeah, the little blip. Yeah, that's right. That's right. So
I've seen the pumpkin pie patties at
yeah,
your farm when we were walking around, and that time when we went out and we were with Hilda, and remember I got to lay down with the cows,
right,
and
right.
you had me walk out a certain distance, and you're like, lay down, and I'm thinking, there's a cow patty there, like there's cow poop. How am I gonna... but now that you say it, they look like pumpkin pies.
Yeah, yeah. That's right. So you can tell a lot about by the way the manure looks. A little harder. Sheep are the same way. It's just a little harder with sheep because everything is in little itty bitty little round balls, and a goat. But same thing. If sheep manure gets real loose, those little pebbles will get real soft and loosey instead of being, and if they get real hard, then it's too fibrous. So grass growth, being able to optimize through rest period the grass growth, and then optimize the nutrition going into the animal. Both of those happen. The second big reason is for sanitation. You don't want the animals to lounge in the same place every day. So, animals don't, nobody changes and washes the bed sheets, for animals. So how they change and wash their bed sheets is they lie in a different place. Friends, want to dive deeper into our thought-provoking conversations? Become part of the Beyond Labels family today by joining below. For any gift amount, you'll get access to the full, uncut episodes.
Every contribution, whether big or small, keeps this podcast going.
So join us and expand your Beyond Labels experience. Thank you.